All right, so it's been a minute. How are you? How's it been?
I am good. I totally, we in my business we close Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Thanksgiving week. So I was so backwards last week in my days, as you know, because I failed to show up when we were gonna meet. I and totally like, and it's not like I even remembered a little bit. Like I was on the wrong day pretty much all day. And not the same day all day, by the way, just so you know. And my family kept laughing at me because they're like, no, no, it's
But did
Wednesday."
you have a good time with your family?
I did have a nice time, and it's so funny when you have more time off than you're used to, because at first it's like, "Oh my gosh, this is, like, forever, like, what a long time," by Friday, I'm just like, "Oh, what a long period of time off," and by yesterday, I was like, "Oh, tomorrow's Monday already." So, but I didn't work the whole time. I worked for, like, a brief minute, like, literally maybe an hour the whole time from Wednesday to Sunday. So, which, if you know me, is, like, a big deal.
Oh, that's a
So,
huge deal. You're
yeah,
not one who usually takes any time off.
yeah. I mean, it's gonna catch up with me a little bit this week, but that's okay.
But those are important. It's important to take that time off. It's important to just spend time with family and like decompress.
Yeah, and we had Thanksgiving at, my house, and it's just us. So, me, Dion, the 3 girls, Deonica's boyfriend. So, it was just our immediate little family. My granddaughter was with her dad, so, she wasn't there, but and then we had our big little eclectic meal, which turkey, steak, shrimp, stuffing, mashed potatoes, all macaroni and cheese, like, all the normal things and a few weird things in there, and thankfully, like, everything finished pretty much at the same time, everything turned out well, and the odds of that happening, are so rare anyway, but so it all turned out really good, and my oldest, who's usually kind of in a hurry to get back to her space and her comfort zone, like, with just hanging out, I kinda finally had to start packing up leftovers and, like, being like, "Okay, good to see everybody." Yeah, exactly, "Good to see you." Uh, so
No.
it was a very good day, and then we worked on a few projects this weekend. We built our first cat wall. It's not done yet. So that's like a new we're gonna look like a crazy house when that's done, but we have some cat issues somehow we end up with these cats in our lives who need homes, and we don't have the heart to say no because my husband loves cats. So now we have a stray and a cat from a friend who passed away, and a cat from the Humane Society, and then a COVID cat. Um, so, but they don't all get along. So now we've been watching, I don't know if you watch a lot of TV, but we've been watching, what's it called? My Cat from Hell. That's what it's called. Uh,
Okay.
I, I think it's on Discovery, but it's this cat behavior specialist who goes to visit people who have these horrible cats they're having issues with, and he like teaches them like how to like what cats need, like how they like to be up high and how they like to, just I mean, some fairly basic stuff that people just don't seem to know. But from that now we are what we call catifying our house and creating some because the big cat, Gideon, chases after Tallulah all the time. She's little. So he's always after her and not in a nice way. And so she needs places to get away. So the first cat wall is made for smaller cats. So the big cats can't get to it and climb up the wall. And
Well, safe spot.
yes, so that she gets her little kitty mojo back because she used to be really confident and now she's getting more timid and scared looking around corners. So it's like, okay, we got to figure out how to get her little kitty mojo back. So,
I don't know if you froze or I froze, but
I'm not sure, I was like, "Oh," it looked like you froze, and then I'm like, "Oh, no. Oh, no, Renee's getting a word about the cat." Like I'm like I'm like, "What's she got for me?"
no, actually I was just thinking is how often we need a safe place, right?
Yeah.
So, um, it's just interesting, you're creating that for your cat. Right now I'm creating like a safe place for me to explore this new faith journey. And I think I found a church that I'm going to. So
I was gonna say, update me on church. Where'd you go? Oh, I
I'll
think
see. Now I don't know if I'm freezing or if I'm freezing.
I'm not
Come.
freezing on my side, so if I'm freezing, it doesn't look like it to me.
Well, we'll find out when the recording happens
Which
because
one's freezing?
we'll see who froze.
Well, this the next time one of us freezes, we'll both freeze.
There we go. Um, so so the interesting thing is when I came back from Faith Over Fear, I was
Hmm.
working out at my gym and a girl that I went to high school with was like, "Oh, hey, my mom goes to this place called The Grove." And she kind of explained where it was. She's like, "They have an excellent music and like it's really kind of cool." And I was like, "Okay, cool. I'll have to check it out." But I had an idea of where I wanted to go first. And I went to that place and I was like, it was really, really loud. They like give you earplugs when you go in. Like that's how loud the music is. I'm like,
Uh,
I'm just a little old for that, maybe. Again, also coming from where they just pretty much play organ or piano music, like it's just a different thing for
Big
me.
change.
And so it's like, not that. And then I asked a friend of mine if I could go to her church with her. And while there, like I just wasn't feeling it. Like the
Hmm.
average age of people was like 20 years older than me. So,
Yeah,
and the music, I just didn't resonate with the music,
so it's
which
like Goldilocks.
right,
Yeah.
right. Too a little too hard, a little too soft. But what's funny is after I'd agreed to go to church with a friend, then one of my son's best friends since kindergarten. So he has these two friends, a girl and a boy. They met the
Mhm.
first day of kindergarten. I connected with their parents like their moms the first day of kindergarten, and they have been friends for the last 20 years.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
These kids they're 25 years old, and Caroline calls me because like she'll come hang out with me. It's awesome. Like she's been here a few times, and um they still all hang like it's just a really cool friendship. And she called me and she's like, "Hey, so," and I think we've talked about this where she was
Yeah.
like, "So God told me to call you." And I was like, "Awesome." Which kind of I was like, "What do you have to say?" And it kind of threw her off a little bit. She's like, I'm supposed to invite you to church." I was like, "Cool." And it's the Grove. It's the same place that another friend had told me about. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay." And then her family all goes there. And then the other friend's mom goes there.
Okay.
So 20 years in the making.
Full circle.
Yeah. And so I I show up and Caroline brings me over and starts introducing me to like the person at the check-in desk.
Hmm.
And she goes, "Caroline, I know Ronai." And I'm looking at this girl and I'm like, she also went to the same elementary school that they all went to. And I'm like, "Oh my goodness." So it was just very welcoming right from the get-go. I walk in, the music is phenomenal. Like just one of those I'm like, "Oh." It was like the music at Faith Over Fear.
Okay.
Like that just and they had the words up there and I don't even know these songs, but by like the second verse I'm able to sing along, which was really
Right.
kind of fun. And the preacher preaches straight out of the Bible, which was really cool. He was talking about John 7 verse 1 through 24, right? And it was really cool because he broke it down into three different things. So verses 1 through 5 is the skepticism of his brothers, right? Now, this is where translation, I'm like, like which translation? Because in King James Version, it's brethren. And
Right.
in newer versions, it says brothers. So then it was some trying to figure out if it was actually Jesus's brothers. Yeah, so like there was just some interesting things. But here like it doesn't matter exactly who it was, except for these were people that hung out with Jesus, right? And they were saying, um, pretty much like, you shouldn't go in there because well, pretty much they wanted to kill him because Jesus had healed somebody on the Sabbath,
Hmm.
which you could do circumcisions, but you couldn't actually heal a person on the Sabbath because that was against the law. Just like you couldn't walk so many steps, or there was just some interesting rules. So 1 through 5 is talking about the skepticism of his brothers or brethren. And Jesus was like, your time is not my time, right? You guys do your thing. Don't worry about me. Like, I'll do this in my timing.
Right.
And then verses 10 through 15 is talking about the confusion of the crowd. They failed to see Jesus for who he was. They wanted the conquering Messiah, not the one who was coming to die for their sins. Right? They wanted someone
Right.
that would come in and like take over. Um, and then the other part, verses 16 through 24, is the hostility of the Jewish leaders. And this is where they had all the scriptural knowledge. They had memorized scriptures, but they didn't understand them and they didn't
Right.
have faith. So it was just really kind of cool how he broke it down and gave me like a new perspective on things. Like here are people who are literally walking with Jesus, right? No clue.
Isn't that though so true to, I mean, even today? So we're always looking for the big the big gesture, the big sign, the big moment, the perfect time, the all the things, like the stars are gonna align, the angels are gonna sing, like something, like there's like a big, and really it's a series of small moments of faith. And uh I mean, it is just still so true today. And it can still be true even in the terms of religion versus relationship. You know, it's one thing to know your Bible or know Jesus is Jesus. It's another thing to have a relationship. Um, so I always find it amazing, and I know it's the point of the Bible, but I mean, well, not the point, but I know it's kind of the point of the Bible, how true, even though the words are different, like you were saying, and it's hard to sometimes dissect what means what, how true the underlying messages still are today for everyone in your everyday life.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Well, and here I am all the time saying, God talk to me. Like I want to hear your voice, which he's like, yeah, you know what? You want to hear me? Open up your
yeah,
book.
it's so true, right? But there you go. I mean, it's kind of that example of, it's like, oh, I want to hear you. Heavens open up, and you're expecting like this big Ronai. I am, you know what I mean? Like you're like you really do. And then it takes just a moment like of common sense where God's like I got a whole book of my,
Well, so often you're like, well, but that was written 2000 years ago, right? It was written so long ago. There's nothing in there that's applicable, except for I'm working on this project where I need a lot of Bible scriptures for this project. And as I'm reading them, I'm able to connect them with everyday, just like, oh, that's what that means. That's how it
Yep.
applies today, even though it was written 2000 years ago.
And in some cases exactly how it applies to you.
Yeah, God was pretty smart.
But I mean, full circle, isn't that funny? So again, your prayer is, God, I want to hear your voice. Like I want to know you. I want to hear your voice. And once you got beyond the, is it going to be my voice, your voice, we kind of talked about that. And that, but now God has put things in your life, planted seeds that are bringing you to a place of exactly what you asked for. You're diving into the Word of God in a way you probably would have never been doing.
Yes. And I also have been trying to take shortcuts because I'm like, I want to get this done faster, right? And
Roadblock.
the shortcuts keep giving me not what I want. And I was like, oh, huh. Sorry.
Yeah.
I need to actually research and read and do these things and take a little bit longer to get them done than I wanted to.
Yeah. It's like, Ronai, you did not ask for the Cliff Notes version. You
That's what
said
I
you.
needed to ask for. Can I just have Cliff Notes first? And
But that in itself too, right, is just like the, so I mean, having a relationship with God, it's like anything. It's like your children, it's like your marriage, it's like any relationship where it takes continual effort and mindfulness in terms of what do you need, what does God need from you? And I think it's because God is God, it's so easy for us to miss that.
well, it's so funny because I literally at times just almost see him shaking his head at me and giggling, not giggling, kind of laughing, like, really? That's
Yeah.
what you're trying?
I say that too all the time. I'm like, I know God eats popcorn and I know he eats lots of it when he's watching me. He just looks down and he's just like, Shannon, pops the popcorn. He's like, you're so entertaining. This could be so much easier if you would just, you know,
So now it's so funny because like literally it's been the last couple days. I'm like, okay, got it. Slow it down just a little. I mean, I'm still supposed to be running. I'm still supposed to be
right.
like diving forward and getting this project done fairly quickly, but also in a way where I have to work through it rather than having it just fall into my lap, right? Which is what most of this project has done is fall into my lap. And I was like, okay, but now like getting down to the nitty gritty, I'm like, oh, okay, let's work. Got
But
it.
isn't even that amazing where, I just find God so cool because it's like, okay, you come to this new place where you're really searching and it takes work and work is hard and it can be really confusing when not all the words make sense, not all the verses make sense. And um, then you get to this place where God plants a seed in your heart for this project that just has you digging into the word. But then knowing what he knows, he makes it so easy. Like he hooks you. He's like, watch this, Renee. And he
Yes.
makes it so easy and good. And it's flowing and flowing and flowing to a point where by the time you have to go to the next level, you're hooked. You're so excited on the relationship that's building, on the project that he's revealing, on the that you're ready to go to the next level. Where if had you had to go to this deeper level from the very beginning, it would have probably felt so discouraging to you
Oh yeah.
personally and in the project.
Yeah.
Like, and so I love to look kind of step outside of my situation and think, God is so cool. There's so many little things. It's kind of like the human body. Like we try and figure it out in medicine and everything. We try and think we know all the miracles of the human body. It's kind of the same sort of thing with all the little tiny things. There's so many little tiny things that God weaves into the tapestry of our lives that are so amazing when you think about it. Like we couldn't on our best planning day orchestrate what he puts into, the life that he has for us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then just think if we're like focused and we're in his word and we're there ready to receive it, it's always so much bigger than we even expect. It's like Jeremiah 29:11, for I know what plans I have for you. And he His plans are always so much bigger and greater than ours.
So much so that 20 years ago, he put people in my life who would then listen and answer a prayer and invite me into a community which I didn't even know that I needed.
But then while you were looking and you knew, because you did as you started this journey, know that you needed somewhere where you felt community and
Mhm.
that you felt connection with people and the music and the all the things. And so here now a little bit into your journey. I mean, like I said, it's kind of cute because it's kind of like Goldilocks. He's like, let me show you, the one that's
Yeah.
to this. Let me show you the one that's to this. And let me prepare you for the one that might be just right for you. And already has this small little community of people who you've known for years.
Yeah. It was exactly how it needed to be for me because, God knows me. He knows I would be like and I really wanted to find a place where I could just like for sure because what I heard and felt when I was there was I was like, "So is this the place for me?" And he's like, "Yeah, for now." I don't know how long that for now is, but for
Right.
sure I needed a space so that I could go through this Christmas season where I felt really good and really comfortable and just like that for now might be 30 years. I don't know. But
Right.
it was really good to get that confirmation that, yeah, this is your place for now.
So
Like, "Oh,
cool.
okay.
I'm excited for you.
Me too."
So,
Well, on that happy note, do you have anything else?
you know, I kind of do.
Okay.
I I have been praying a lot and I've been thinking, and this kind of falls a little bit into what we've been talking about just in terms of um, surrender. And I
Mhm.
love hearing your story because it always inspires me and reminds me uh, kind of what surrender looks like. And I had my own moment of surrender, but it's funny because I told you my biggest prayer coming back from faith over fear is not to get so busy being busy that, I lost sight of what was gained there at faith over fear, the connection that I had with God there. And that, I mean, that hasn't happened. That's all good and that's fine. And but I have come to realize one, that surrender is a daily thing. I literally have it on my daily to-do list, on my little check my box thing of my daily things. It's like to actually visibly remind me that, hey, did you give the things to God today you need to give? And I heard you talking this morning. Oh, what did you say? What is the question you said this morning on your live?
What is it that you want God to be for you?
Yeah.
Like, God, what do you want to be for me today?
Yeah. So I thought, oh, that's so great because that goes into exactly what I was thinking or feeling, just trying to remember to stay in that place because I am very much a feelings person. So man, it is hard to go to something like Faith Over Here because there is all the feels and
Mm.
you are just so energized and you are just so spirit filled and you are just so ready to, I mean, take on the world and come back, and then daily life starts to happen and that same level of feeling isn't there. So then I was thinking of you because I was thinking, what would Renee? I don't know why this came to me, but you always come to me in things. And I was thinking Renee would be like, now when you come down from that, you have to get grounded. Like, what's your grounding for each day to stay in that, even if it's not this euphoric emotional thing. So uh, for anybody who kind of struggles with that because it's hard if you're running off emotions. So again, another reason why you have to dig into the word because emotions don't sustain you and those
I was just
feelings don't sustain you.
That's what I was gonna say is when you get in the word, that's what grounds you. And
Yeah.
I have a 23-year-old who just took off for a week and a half, and he's in Malaysia,
Oh.
staying with somebody that he's been chatting with on the internet, met through like, he was cutting somebody's hair here, introduced
Mhm.
him, but still, like, the whole thing, I'm like, "Okay, okay, okay, okay," and so, all the stuff runs through my brain. He's kind of a pretty child. All the
He's
stuff is running through my
gorgeous.
brain, and I finally just heard, "Stop. surrender. And I was like, oh, yes, I could sit here and be totally fearful for this kid,
Right.
or I could just hand it back and say, you're right. I'm not in charge here. You're in charge. And whatever happens, it's what's supposed to happen. But please, can it be good stuff?
I know, right? It's like, okay, God, I'm just gonna give this to you. This is your business. I'm gonna trust you and just to bring them home safe. That's it.
Right? I mean,
Oh,
we can totally pray for safety. Now, if something happens, it's what's supposed to happen, right? I'm not asking for that. I'm not tempting fate. I'm not any of that. I'm just saying that not everything happens for good, right? Like everything's been so good since I came back from Faith Over Fear. And I'm still like, I walk around some days just like where just my heart is just so full and I just don't even know why. It's just because it's so cool. Like my life is amazing and I'm just like I'm so happy for this path that I'm on. And then that doubt creeps in, but yeah, but what if something happens? Like, are you still going to be able to hold on to this? And I'm like, oh, I don't want that temptation. I don't want that, you know? And
well, and that was I was reading about that today a little bit in my devotional where basically paraphrasing, but it is the idea of the little monkeys on our back. It's like those are the little things. So we were talking about big voice of God, big gestures, big things. And I mean, you do have people in life who have big things, whether they be tragic things or addiction things, or there are big things that happen. But a majority of the time, the things that can get us off track or the things that can get us distracted uh, from God or divide us or create just a little bit of an opening for for the enemy is those little daily moments of you can go down these rabbit holes and these monkeys on your back of what's happening, what's going on, when are you coming back, are you safe, are you, I mean, all the mom things, and you can apply that to so many different areas in life. And those, I think, are the critical moments that impact us the most because they're almost invisible. We don't even realize what they're stealing from us. That worry, that yeah, I mean, especially worry, the anxiety, the worry, the things we take on that aren't even ours to take on. Because I mean, the truth is, right, even if something bad's gonna happen, like, what are you gonna do about it? And, like, how are you like, how you're not gonna know, you just can't stop it, you can't control it, you can't like, there's the thing I was reading, I think it was Jen Sincero had a book out, and I think one of the things she talked about was anxiety when people go driving, and it was the interesting she was talking about
yeah,
the your brain behind it, where you spend so much time worrying about getting in an accident that your brain already feels like you've been in an accident and builds up all this anxiety, that by the time you do have an accident, if you have an accident, I mean, you feel like you've already had one. And it's like that same thing we do when we worry and take on anxiety and everything. It's like our brain thinks it's really happening to some degree,
yeah.
and it's
And
very
I think
distracting.
what she says is you can come along in the car, but you can't be in the driver's seat because, anxiety, that's fine. I get that you're here. You don't get to be in the driver's seat anymore.
Yeah,
In the back.
but even for driving, like, so we're in a winter state where you can get bad and when I would have to drive on the bad roads, like, that little part of her book was really helpful because it's like, "Why am I worrying about this?" Like, if I'm gonna get in an accident, I'm gonna get in an accident. Worrying about it isn't gonna prevent it, and it just makes me feel like the stress of already having been in an accident.
Yeah,
But it's hard to let
absolutely.
those things it's hard to give those things to God.
Is it hard to give them to God?
It's hard when you haven't identified the pattern. How's that?
Oh, there we go. Yes. Yes.
Once you know you
And
do it.
yes, because I was gonna say all the worry, all the stress, all the everything started to come, and then I was like, "Oh, why am I stressing about this? I have no control over what this child does
Yep.
20 hours away from us, right?" And so all I can do is just be like, "Okay," and check his Instagram daily to see what he's up to, because
And
that's
what
how.
a cool story. Because why doesn't our brain go to the flip side of it? Why didn't your brain go to, "Oh my gosh, what an amazing experience." Like, I would have loved to have been in Malaysia doing that. Like, what cool things, God, do you have for him there? Like, that is not
Yeah,
where our brain jumps to, especially as parents. Like, we have to talk
right?
ourselves off the ledge.
But but now I can sit there and go, "He's having amazing adventures." Like, this kid has amazing adventures, and then we get to just see all his pictures and celebrate with him, and, um, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Does not surprise me that he jumped a plane and headed over to Malaysia on a random invite. That fits, and he's gonna have an amazing time.
Yeah. So, we too can have an amazing time if we just, like, let go of all the trash that's happening in our heads and
The let go and let God,
Yep,
yep.
exactly. "Jesus, you got this. Take it.
Way
We're good."
better than we have it, by the way, way better.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was cool. Yes, getting in surrender is really important to me, and, so anything else?
No, no, no.
Alright, well, I hope you guys have enjoyed coming along on this journey with us, and, hope you have a very blessed day.
See you next time.